You know, putting a putt in the hole with a nice smooth stroke and everything worked out, that's the icing on the cake. But a lot of ingredients go into making that putt. Today we're going to talk about ingredients and making that cake. Here's a recipe for reading the greens. So I said reading the greens is a lot like baking a cake, and here's the recipe for that. I'm going to do this whole process I use to read greens from the perspective of you're baking a cake. Now the first thing you need if you're going to bake the cake is you need 1 cup of geography. And when I talk about geography, look around the overall geography. Where are you in the world? On this particular green that I'm on, uphill is pretty much that way. But also over here, there's a big mountain back this way. That influences the putt, for instance. So a mountain like this influences every putt on the entire course. It's just pushing. The course is on the side of a hill. So you got to look at that geography before you look at the green. And then notice that mountain, if you spin all the way around, the course is on the side of a hill. Down there is the city of Las Vegas. That influences every putt on this course, no matter what you see on the green. So you got to take that into consideration. So you got to take into account the overall geography of where you are. Are there hills, valleys, mountains around the golf course, off the course, even if you can't see? The second thing is you need 1.5 cups of high-low. Now high and low, each green has a high spot and a low spot. You need to find those on the green as you're walking up, as you're approaching to mark your ball or start reading the green. Look for the high spot, look for the low spot, see where that is in relationship to your ball. Is it going to cause your ball to move or break? Then of course you don't want your cake to be dry, so you need 1.5 cups of water. And I want you to think about water in at least 4 ways. Way number 1, if you hovered over the green with a helicopter, like when they're watering the greens or that kind of thing, you poured water out on the green, where is it going to run off? Where does the water go? Second thing is, if you stood over a hole and poured out 1 cup of water into that hole, where would the water run out? Now that's critically important because that tells you how the putt's going to break in that last 2.5 or 2 feet as the ball rolls to the hole, where it's going the slowest, where gravity has the most effect on the ball. So that's important. Second thing there with water. Third thing is, where does the water run off of the green when they irrigate? That's an area, and you'll see it's shiny looking that way. The green always, gravity always, the ball always follows the water. It's like those places where the irrigation water runs off, they just suck the ball in that direction. One last thing related to water, if there's water near the green, like on this green that I'm on right now, there's water here, there's water all around. That affects the grain. The grain tends to run towards the water. Let's talk about grain while you're dealing with that. That's an ingredient in reading the green. When I talk about grain, the grasses that they use on putting surfaces are grainy grasses. In other words, they run along the ground and spread out. They don't grow straight up like maybe the grass in your yard. They tend to spread and creep more, if you will. That grain runs in one direction or another. It goes towards water because that's what plants do. But also, notice the sun. This particular green, because there's water on several sides, that's east, that's west. This green, literally, the grain will sometimes follow the sun like plants do. The grain on this green may go that direction in the morning and that way in the afternoon. So you have to pay attention to that. Which way is the grain running? Because that's going to, let's say the grain is running this way and your putt breaks this way, it's going to go faster that way with the grain. The grain's going that way and your putt breaks this way, it's going to have a little bit less break. So you got those ingredients. Now let's talk about, you got to mix up all of those ingredients. When you're making a cake, you don't just pour everything in a bowl and okay, let's go and bake it. No, you got to stir it up. So one of the things that you should do, preferably as soon as you walk onto the green, is don't go straight to your ball. Go all the way around the ball, behind the hole. Look at the putt from multiple different sides. You'll be amazed at how many greens you're on where it looks like it breaks this way from this side of the cup and the other way from the other side. If you don't want to miss that, be sure that you walk all the way around it and check that out. Preferably you do that on your way to your ball before you mark it, but if somebody's chipping up or coming in, you need to mark your ball first. Then while they're walking up to the green, you walk all the way around it and get the break. Now you're ready to do the baking. You turn the oven on, you put the cake in the oven. There's time. How long do you cook it? You don't want to burn it. Same thing related to your recipe for reading greens. A putt that breaks, say 2 degrees, is going to go this much break in 5 feet, and in 25 feet it may break this much. You've got to factor that in. The more distance, the more time that ball is rolling, and you've got to factor that into your read. Now you've got all of those ingredients put together. At this point, you pick a target between the ball and the hole, and you line up your putter face, try to hit the ball to that target, or you may use a different technique, visualizing a line into your brain and burning that image into your brain where you see the ball rolling on that line. Whichever method you do, now you're ready to step up, stroke the putt into the hole, and enjoy the icing on your cake. Try this recipe. We got other content on reading greens. I'll link that for you below. Try it out. Let me know what you think. Make a comment on what else you'd like to see in terms of reading greens, helping you make more putts, because that's what this channel is all about. So like, subscribe, share, comment, and go out, read the greens, and make more putts.